It is a scenario no corporate board wants to confront, the loss of a superstar CEO. Yet that's exactly what Apple's board is facing now that Steve Jobs has been granted medical leave for the second time in a couple of years. We wanted to know just what Apple directors are going through right now. Do they have shareholders' best interests in mind? So we asked Bill George to join us. Bill is a professor of management at the Harvard Business School and a veteran of boardroom dilemmas. He's a director at Goldman Sachs and the former chairman and CEO of Medtronic. Bill, good morning to you. Let me ask you this question, Erik, to kick it off. Is Apple handling this the right way?
Well, I think they're handling it the only way they can handle it. You're in a position where you just don't know. You have to have a lot of empathy for Steve Jobs and his family right now. And I think you don't know. It's a medical condition. He's faced it twice before, 7 years ago and then 2 years ago. And I think right now all he can do is take a leave and put Tim Cook in charge. And it's happened before, and Tim's done an outstanding job. So I think the board has to take it a step at a time under the circumstances. And Steve said he's going to continue to be involved in strategy, which is good news, I think, for everyone. But we'll see. I hope and pray he'll be back soon.
Bill, how about the way that Apple is handling disclosure? If you saw the memo to employees yesterday that was released publicly, you'll agree with me the details were pretty scant. Just how much do shareholders have a right to know more about Steve Jobs' condition than what was in that release? And there wasn't much.
Well, I agree. It's very scant, but I don't think they know. I mean, I face this in my own family, where you go into these never land with healthcare issues, and I think you just don't know. And I think they can say that the company's in good hands. And Erik, I think I'd like to make the point, Apple's a very different company it was when Steve came back 15 years ago. It had about a $7 billion market cap. It was really on its back. And today they have a very strong management team, and they've been building it up. So it's not like he's a one-person show. Yes, he's the world's greatest innovation leader. There's only one Steve Jobs. You're not going to replace him per se. But I think the team there with Jonathan Ive and people like Ron Johnson running retail, and it's the world's only fully integrated technology company. So they've got a strong team, and the course is well set. So I think they will continue the course, and he's laid that very clearly for the last 15 years.
How difficult are decisions like these for a board like Apple's, Bill?
Extremely difficult. I've gone through it 3 or 4 times. My own case, I remember when Hank Paulson and the Goldman board went to Washington, and we had to make a change. It was clear Lloyd Blankfein was the right person, but you're still in a position where directors around the world, you get a call and you have to come together quickly. And in this case, I think they've done the only thing they can. I know the media is asking for a lot more. I think that's not reasonable at this time. I think the employees at Apple and the customers have a lot of confidence Tim Cook will take over, as he did twice before, and step up and do the job, and that things will move forward, and Steve will be in close touch, as he was back in 2009.
The last time Steve Jobs took medical leave, and we now know, of course, it was to have a liver transplant, Tim Cook was appointed the interim CEO. Should we read anything into the fact that the board didn't deem it necessary to appoint him interim CEO this time around?
Well, I think maybe that's good news that Steve will be back, but I think clearly Tim's going to be in charge. And they have a very close working relationship. And, Erik, I think today in corporation we need to look at like a team at the top. A team of people are running the company. So it's not just even Tim and Steve, but the whole team around them. And Apple has built up that team and done it very, very well, in my opinion. I couldn't have said that back in 2004. I was very uncertain. But I think today, and I think in 2009, it was shown that the company will go on quite well. There's no one to replace the image of Steve Jobs, but in terms of the leadership decisions, I think they're in good shape, and Steve's still there. He's going to be in contact with them, if not physically on the premises.
Bill, I would be remiss in not asking you a question about the other big tech story, you might call it, of the day. The situation with Steve Jobs, you could say it's a no-win for Apple. The situation with Facebook and Goldman Sachs is a bit of a no-win for Goldman. Goldman scaling back the Facebook deal and deciding not to sell shares to U.S. investors. A lot of people look at this as a black eye for Goldman Sachs. What do you say?
I'm just not in a position to comment on that story for legal reasons, Erik. So, unfortunately, I can't help you on that story. So,
well, Bill, I understand you are a board member at Goldman Sachs, and clearly these are it's a sticky situation for Goldman. We do appreciate you joining us, as always, Bill, and giving us some great insights into what it's like to be a board member at Apple this morning with Steve Jobs taking medical leave.